Thanks for joining me for the first restorative yoga for sleep session. I'm going to do a number of poses that help to decompress the spine and to just help you to release into the floor and just really let go of any of the tensions that you may be holding after a busy day. So you'll need a blanket and a bolster. So if you're not sure about those pieces of equipment, just watch the introduction video that shows you how to make bolsters out of blankets, etc. So you'll need a blanket and at least one blanket and a bolster. We're going to start off with one of the poses that I really love. Actually, it's the spine lengthening pose. So just lay out your blanket in a flat line like this, and then you just fold it over once and then fold it down again so that you've got quite a thick little kind of mini bolster. Then you're going to lay that down the center of your mat, and you'll want a bolster for underneath your knees. So this is the equipment that you need to get started. So let me just move this out of the way. This is some of my gear that I use when I'm practicing. So you've got the bolster that's underneath your knees. Now, one little important tip is that you're not sitting directly on the bolster. It's just kind of about an inch away from your seat bones. So have warm clothes for this. So I'm just going to do up my jacket. So you're going to just lay yourself down along the bolster so that it draws a line along your back. And then your bolster, if it's nice and long, then you can fold up the end, and then you have this little kind of lift for underneath the back of your neck, so it lengthens out the back of your neck and it supports your head. And then you can just roll up the bolster so that it's underneath your knees. If you wear glasses, it's nice to take them off. Now, I'm not going to use this because I want you to be able to see what I'm doing, but you won't really need to keep looking at the screen very much, but have a blanket to cover yourself up with. So you've got your equipment and you've got your blanket. Just lay yourself along that straight line and then just fold up the end of your blanket so it's supporting your head, and then just lay yourself down into the floor and allow yourself the permission to relax. So close your eyes or cover your eyes. This practice doesn't benefit you if you feel uncomfortable. If the lift underneath your back doesn't feel right, if it feels uncomfortable, then adjust yourself so that it does feel comfortable. There's nothing to be gained from just styling it out. The aim here is to give ourselves permission to relax. And that doesn't come easy, especially if you suffer from disturbed sleep. Often that's because we find it difficult to switch off. So there'll be periods of time where I don't speak. Don't assume that the internet stream has stopped. Silence is important for this practice. So draw your attention towards your breath. Just feel the natural rising of the chest and the expansion of the rib cage as you inhale, and as you exhale, feel the lowering of the chest and the gentle contraction of the rib cage. So one of the first stages is just tuning ourselves into our breath. Listening to the sound of the breath, but also consciously following the physiological response to the breath, the rising and the expansion of the breath with the in-breath, and the lowering and the contraction of the ribs with the out-breath. So this practice doesn't ask you to physically extend, as in some other types of yoga. This practice just asks us to relax. So we start to quieten things down by focusing on the physiological response to the breath. So this is a practice of quietness, feeling the props, helping the body to let go. Gentle bolster action in the spine helps to lengthen and decompress the spine, or at least give the impression of length in the spine. Observe that perhaps after being here for a few minutes, the breath starts to naturally deepen. If there are specific areas of tension around the body, then consciously push your out breath into that region. Become consciously aware of the soles of the feet. and relax the soles of the feet, feeling almost as though the skin expands away from the center of the foot, broadening outwards. Draw your attention to the top of the foot, top of your feet, and consciously release and relax the tops of the feet. Consciously draw your attention to the shins. And allow the shins to sink into the calf muscles and into the bolster. Relaxing the shins. Draw your attention towards the thighs. Let the bones of the thighs sink into the back of the thigh muscle, relaxing the thighs into the bolster behind the knees. Consciously focus on pelvis, and allow the pelvis to sink into the floor. Draw your attention to the torso. Consciously release the torso into the mat and into the bolster. Drawing your attention to your arms, the upper arms, the forearms, the wrists, the backs of the hands, the palms of the hands. And then relax the upper arms and the shoulders, forearms and the wrists, and the release of the fingers. Feel that there is a warmth around the crown of the head, and relax the crown of the head. In a moment, we're going to bring ourselves out of this pose, this spine lengthening pose. So just prepare yourself for the possibility of movement. Just wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers. And then just consciously keep yourself covered, I'm just uncovering myself so you can see. If you need to, just bend your knees, rest your feet on the bolster, and then just roll yourself off your bolster. Just stay down just for a moment, and then bring yourself up into a comfortable seated position. So we don't need the bolster, the blanket for the moment, so you can just put that to one side. So we're going to do a reclining pigeon pose. So we're going to keep our bolster exactly where it is. You're going to lay yourself along the floor this time. So you just lay yourself in a good straight line with the bolster underneath. And then you're going to bend up your left leg and then bring it onto the top of the thigh, and then you just let your leg rest like this. Now, if this knee is floating up in the air, then get your blanket again and place the blanket over the end of your bolster so that you've got somewhere, so the foot is across the knee and you've just got this bolster, the blanket underneath, just to support the thigh. Have your hands just out to the sides of the body, and then just rest. So your right leg is straight, your left leg is bent, the foot is just resting on the bottom of the thigh, the knee out to the side. If you feel like your head rolls back, you can always put a pillow or a folded blanket underneath your head. Otherwise, just use this gentle opening in the hip just to release into the floor. So again, drawing your attention towards your breath. Soften the jaw, soften your tongue, soften the throat. So this simple practice just helps you to just gently release the tensions of the day. Just feel the floor supporting the body. Feel the blocks or the bolsters and the blankets supporting the body. Just allow yourself to release into the floor or into your bed. In a moment, we're going to just swap the legs over, but no rush. This practice is all about giving yourself permission to relax, to let go, just to focus on the movement of the breath. Just enjoying and indulging in this practice that helps the body and the mind reset, ready for sleep. So scan the body and observe any areas of tension and consciously relax and release those areas. Okay, just gently just flex your heel of that bent leg. Just bring the knee up to face the ceiling a little and then just stretch out the leg. Just rest down in the floor. Just notice the difference that you feel in the legs around the hip. And then without disturbing yourself too much, just put the blanket onto the other side. And this time you're just going to stretch out the other leg, and it's the right leg that you bend. So the foot, the ankle sits on the bottom of the thigh, close to the knee. Just supporting that thigh with your blanket, keeping yourself warm, keeping yourself covered. Allow the skin of your forehead to descend downwards towards the bridge of your nose. Feel the skin from the face all the way down to the feet. Again, just observing whether you're holding the pose, whether you're releasing into it. Aim to release into the floor. Consciously releasing any tension in the jaw by lowering bottom teeth away from the upper teeth. Consciously softening the tongue. Notice that when you soften your tongue, you also soften around the eyes and around the forehead. Soften the back of the throat. Okay, in a moment we're going to just come out of this pose. So just prepare yourself mentally for the prospect of movement. And then just gently just straighten out both legs, just resting the legs on the bolster. Just gently draw your knees in towards your chest and then just roll over onto your side and sit yourself up. Just to finish off, we're going to just go into our basic relaxation pose. So if you've got your blanket still in your kind of bolster configuration, just unfold it so you've got this little kind of quarter fold, and then just fold it down the middle and then down the middle again, so that you've got a little pillow for your head. And then you've got your bolster underneath your knee, so that stays where it is. If you've got anything to support underneath your feet, then you can put 2 blocks or some hardback books or whatever. You can put them underneath the backs of your feet just so that they're supported. And then just lay yourself down, have the blanket in towards your shoulders, so that the blanket supporting the back of your neck. Just experiment with where you want to put your bolster, so you can roll it up towards the tops of the thighs. I really like that area because it helps me to release in the abdomen, really soften in the lumbar. But you might want to just try it in the back of the knees, maybe in the backs of the calves. But for me, I like to bring it quite high up in the back of my thighs. So I've got my feet resting on the blocks, the bolster underneath the backs of my thighs, and then just let yourself rest down. The hands are at the sides of the body. Cover yourself with your blanket. So this is our basic relaxation pose. So close your eyes, cover your eyes if the room isn't dark. Draw your attention back towards your breath. Just feeling the rise and the fall of the chest as you inhale and exhale. If you feel any areas of discomfort, then direct your out breath towards that region. So just resting down in your basic relaxation pose. So letting the body release into the floor. Begin to tune into your inner state. Observe the quality of your thoughts and emotions. Notice whether you're feeling positive and happy or negative and melancholy. Whatever your findings, please don't judge yourself. Find something in your immediate physical experience to be grateful for. Let it be something simple and tangible, such as your breath, the props supporting you, or the ability of your body to do this practice. Silently say to yourself, I am grateful for this blessing. Continue identifying immediate physical blessings, from the clothes you're wearing to the roof over your head. Taking a moment to truly feel and express gratitude for each item. Move beyond your physical experience and identify other gifts you're in receipt of. These might include your relationships, your family, your profession, your health, past occurrences, and present opportunities. Nothing is too small. When your mind stops identifying items, hold them all in your heart and rest in the steady flow of abundance. Give thanks and then let go, and turn your attention back to your breath. So we're going to finish up our session in a moment. But if you want to stay in this basic relaxation pose, then just stay here for as long as you like. If you're bringing yourself out of the pose, then just Begin to wriggle your fingers, wriggle your toes, just bringing your body back into this pose of basic relaxation. And then bend up your knees, just gently roll yourself over onto your side with your head still supported with the blanket. And then when you're ready, just straighten out your top leg, come back into the seated position. Just come into cross legs, the hands in Namaste, just a final spinal lift. Draw your breath in through your nose, down into the abdominal region. Just be conscious of the energy that you have released as a result of the short sequence that we have done this evening. Draw your chin down to meet your chest. Spend a moment to acknowledge the positive energy you've created inside. And then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, the palms facing upwards. And as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much.